Hello everyone, Tom with Capo Fetish. Today on the channel, we're going to talk about Sublime closing tracks from 1972. What a year 72 was. This first album I'm going to mention here was an album I heard a lot in our living room. My brother played it a lot. Certain songs stuck with me, but the whole album didn't register with me until I got older. And now it's becoming one of my favorites of this particular artist. I'm talking about Jackson Browne, his first album. Some people refer to it as Saturate Before Using. It's just really called Jackson Browne. So a lot of people might know the song Doctor My Eyes or Rock Me on the Water. Both those songs get substantial airplay, but there's so many great tracks on here. A Child in These Hills, Song for Adam, Under the Falling Sky is incredible. That last track, My Opening Farewell, is such a gorgeous track. It is like the perfect ending to a perfect album. This whole mellow kind of vibe, this Laurel Canyon vibe that's going on here in 1972 with Jackson Browne, it's just perfect. I mean, right out of the gate, the guy is just a first-rate, top-tier songwriter. I used to think Late for the Sky and perhaps For Every Man were my favorite Jackson Browne albums. This one is actually becoming my absolute favorite. I love every track on it, and that ending really gets me. My Opening Farewell, incredible stuff. So that's one. Another one is Rock and Roll Suicide by David Bowie. I mean, this is another just perfect album from start to finish. Kicked off the whole glam movement. Every song is amazing, but Rock and Roll Suicide, have you ever heard the live version on David Live? That even too has its own magic. There's just something about it, the theatrical part of it. His voice is so amazing on this track. Again, just a sublime closing track from 1972. Rock and Roll Suicide from David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. How about Angry Eyes from Loggins and Messina from 1972? Their second album, their self-titled second album here. First one was called Sittin' In. Angry Eyes, I think, is probably my favorite Loggins and Messina track. I love the single edit where without all the instrumentation, but sometimes I want to hear the full version. A lot going on, some cool, it sounds like flute maybe, a little bit of flute, just kind of a jazzy kind of vibe going on in the middle there. A really cool jam session, not your typical jam session from 1972. I love the harmonies, I love the melody, and it's a pretty damn good album too. Loggins and Messina in their early days had some really good material. This being one, and what a great closer. This also includes, of course, it says on the hype sticker here, Your Mama Don't Dance, which was a huge hit. But for me, the key track on here for me is Angry Eyes, and it ends the album on a really high note. So Angry Eyes from the self-titled album from Loggins and Messina, their second album from 1972. Nick Drake's Pink Moon, an album full of very, very dark, melancholy, like really short tunes. A lot of dark stuff on here. I love this album. This is becoming my favorite Nick Drake album. I used to really love Brighter Later the best, but I really love just the starkness of this and the just absolute bare bone, just guitar, just Nick and his voice and the guitar. It's just absolute magic. And the song I'm talking about is From the Morning, the last track on the album. It provides a little bit of light with all the other darkness. It's a short track, just like all the rest. And it comes right after Harvest Breed, which is another kind of dark song that comes under about a minute long. But From the Morning is just a gorgeous track, and I think it's a nice ending to kind of a dark album. So there you go. Coming in at number 3, well, we're not even counting down this list. They're all fantastic. So From the Morning, from Pink Moon, from Nick Drake. How about Siberian Catru from Close to the Edge from Yes? Wow, what a track. The way it starts off with Steve Howe, that guitar part is so incredible. And the whole track, just like every Yes track from this era, like 71, 72, is just masterfully done. Just the vocal harmonies between John Anderson and Chris Squire, sometimes Howe sings with the harmonies, and all the just unexpected little twists and turns that come with each track. This one being just following just the epic Close to the Edge track, then And You and I starts off side 2, and then ending with Siberian Catru. Incredible track to another perfect album from 1972. So Siberian Catru from Yes, from Close to the Edge. How about God's Song from Randy Newman's Sail Away? Woo! Randy Newman, man, pulling no punches on this track. I mean, this is an album full of just another just flawless album from 1972. Sail Away, one of my favorite Randy Newman songs. Dayton, Ohio, 1903. You Can Leave Your Hat On, which Joe Cocker covered. Lonely at the Top, the title track, Old Man, He Gives Us All His Love. But God's Song, That's Why I Love Mankind. Yep. Pretty heavy stuff. And just, again, another perfect way to end a perfect album. And this has, to me, Randy Newman's greatest songs, all in one album. I love 12 Songs. I love Little Criminals. I like, what's the one that came out? This Good Old Boys. But this one is the one for me. And the way it ends with God's Song is just perfect. It's ominous sounding. It's dark. And of course, it's very, it's Randy Newman's just total wit coming forth there on those grooves. So God's Song, what's the, God's Song, That's Why I Love Mankind, from Randy Newman from 1972 from the Sail Away album. How about Turn That Heartbeat Over Again from Steely Dan? What a great debut. Though they would go on to better things, it's still a fine debut. Do It Again, Reelin' in the Years, you know those tracks. I think side 2 is my favorite though, starting with Reelin' in the Years, Fire in the Hole, Brooklyn Owes the Charmer Under Me, Change of the Guard, but then Turn That Heartbeat Over Again is such a really cool track melodically. In the middle, there's this really cool like instrumental break going on with all these different unexpected twists and turns. Really incredible melody and the way the resolution of it, and before it goes back into the chorus, it's just an incredible track. And when I was young, growing up with this album, I really got into Steely Dan in my teenage years. This album was just, that tune in particular would bring so much light into me. It was just amazing. So love Turn That Heartbeat Over Again by Steely Dan from Can't Buy a Thrill from 1972. An amazing album closer. Another incredible album closer from 72 is Stevie Wonder's I Believe When I Fall in Love, It Will Be Forever. This was featured in the end credits of the film High Fidelity with John Cusack. It just fit perfectly with that film. This is a gorgeous track. And the way it starts off, and just that beautiful singing of Stevie's, and then at the end it goes into this kind of gospel thing. Oh, it's just fantastic. There's just so many great tracks on here. It's like, how could he put any more incredible tracks? And he does it at the end again. Ends the album on a perfect note. I Believe When I Fall in Love with You, It Will Be Forever. Indeed. Stevie Wonder from Talking Book from 1972. My favorite closing track of 1972 is Supper's Ready by Genesis. There is really nothing like this track in rock, in progressive rock. There's like 7 different parts strung together that all seem to make sense in some weird idiosyncratic way. It's just amazing. It starts off like a folk song and then just goes into this just wonderland of just weirdness, melody, incredible playing. Some of the time signatures on this song are just unbelievable. Apocalypse in 9/8 is an incredible part of the song. The ending, the very ending with Peter Gabriel singing, Bringing Us Home to the New Jerusalem. It's one of his best vocals. It just absolutely lifts your soul. This track, if you've never heard it, this is one of those tracks you need to hear. It's like one of those 1001 tracks you must hear before you die. It will change your life, change mine. When I heard this as a teenager, it just blew my ass away. It still does to this day. I reserve it for special nights when I'm in an altered state and I want to really just get right into it. So I really have always loved Supper's Ready by Genesis. This is like their the peak period for me for Genesis with Peter Gabriel. Just amazing stuff. Supper's Ready from the Foxtrot album. And last but not least, Celluloid Heroes by the Kinks from Everybody's in Showbiz. An absolute, just iconic Kinks song. Though it is a double album, the first side is all studio, or the first album is all studio. Sides 1 and 2, sides 3 and 4 are all studio. Very, very ragged performance, but very entertaining. But Celluloid Heroes, we can say that hasn't already been said. It's just a masterful song. His lyrics, the sentiment, how he kind of humanizes these characters, these tragic characters in Hollywood. Just amazing. Another great version is on the live double album, One for the Road from 1980, with a stellar intro guitar solo by Dave Davies. But to me, this is the one. This is the real, for me, like the real heartfelt version for me. Lyrically, the way Ray sings it, and the way it ends. That way it ends when he goes, celluloid heroes don't feel any pain, and celluloid heroes never really die. That always gets me. So Celluloid Heroes by the Kinks from Everybody's in Showbiz. Those are 10 of my fave Sublime closing tracks from 1972. Throw your favorites in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.